Hello and welcome to the Telescope. Every week we bring you a fresh insight from the biggest car market in the world. This is what 14,000 euros buys you in China. This is the Wuling Starlight S. We brought you the saloon version of this car last year. This is the SUV. This car we have here today is the top spec BEV version, which could be priced around 16 to 17,000 euros. But you could buy the PHEV version of this car for as little as 14,000 euros. And it's this big in the back. Now I'm 5'11". This back seat is as big as the Iron Y we showed you a while ago, and that's designed specifically to be a commercial taxi, so that has a particular bias on the back seat. And the same description applies to this car. No matter how familiar you are with this car, every time you step inside, you're still gonna go, wow, this is quite big. It has manually adjustable seat back angle. When it's at its most rearward position, it's 37 degrees over 90 degrees. Sounds familiar? That's also the maximum seat back angle on the current Mercedes E-Class. And Wuling, I kid you not, they also benchmarked this leg support against the Mercedes E-Class. And this is a 13 to 14,000 euro car. I went in depth on why cars here in China has a particular focus on the back seat in my Volkswagen Tiguan L Pro video. That is the extended wheelbase Volkswagen Tiguan that's available only in China, and it's still much smaller than this. This front cabin is also not your usual 14,000 euro car. I should point out, this is the 17,000 euro top spec BEV version, but this interior, this color, the two big screens, and everything you see here will be the same on the 13,000 euro entry-level PHEV version. It looks very clean and upmarket, but cost control, well, let's face it, this is a very cheap car. Cost control of this interior is very clever. Now this looks like two wireless charging pads for your phone, right? But actually, it's only a place for you to put your phones. It cannot wirelessly charge. Instead, they have an opening here for you to route your charging cable here, so you can put your phone here and charge this with a cable. I don't mind this, considering this is so cheap. From about this line upward, there's very little hard plastic. There's no crazy materials, but all of the materials and colors are so cleverly chosen to complement each other. For example, this gold accent line across the IP is actually just hard plastic, but it gives the upper IP the correct amount of enlightenment to make it feel less dull, to give it that fresh, to give it a little bit of pop, to make it feel more upmarket. And let's zoom in on this front door A-pillar air conditioning outlet area here. Look how exquisite this area is, and try to convince yourself this is a 14,000 euro car. On the road, the Starlight S has a very mature chassis. We're in Qingdao today. This city is actually under a fair bit of construction, so today I've definitely driven on a good selection of perfectly smooth and definitely less than perfect surfaces. This has got a very mature chassis. It's got independent rear suspension, which is noteworthy on a 14,000 euro car. It has about 200 horsepower, which is enough. I know it's front wheel drive, so it could struggle for traction under heavy acceleration, but again, look at the price. The steering, however, reminds me of the Wuling Bingguo, which is a 1,200 kilo super mini. And this is more than half a ton heavier, much bigger, much more mature car. And the steering feels like a super mini, especially at low speed, to the point you don't even take this car seriously. You think from the steering, whoa, this doesn't feel like a very well engineered car. It is, apart from the steering. And this steering has a little bit of play at the center. You see, within this area, the car really doesn't respond that much. Wuling needs to sort out this steering. You can't put a super mini steering. You can't tune a family SUV steering like a super mini. Wind noise of this car is actually very well controlled, but the tire noise is not. The tire noise needs to be improved. Another weak point of this car is the stereo. I believe the car we're driving here today has the 6-speaker setup, which is 1 speaker on each door and 2 tweeters at the front. And I believe this car has a more advanced optional 9-speaker setup, but let's just say on this current setup, it's noticeably lacking bass, and the mid to high tone is nothing to write home about either. I could tolerate this on a very cheap car because the stereo is very easy to upgrade in the aftermarket. If you want this in your country, it's possible. This is Wuling's full name, 上汽通用 Wuling, which means SAIC General Motors Wuling. Yes, it's that General Motors. I'm hearing this car might appear in Latin America and India, but quite possibly under a different brand. Maybe MG, maybe even Chevrolet. It almost definitely won't be 14,000 euros when this car arrives in your country. That depends on how much tariff your country decides to put on Chinese electric vehicles. But here, you might think this 14,000 euro car will destroy the market, right? But actually, it has many competitions. I think this has a better interior and more space in the back than this car's most immediate rival, the BYD Song Pro. Although it looks close from a distance, this is not a direct rival to the Geely Galaxy E5 we showed you a while ago. That car is about half a class smaller than this, and it's better made and it's more expensive. But this car will probably go head-to-head with the PHEV version of the Galaxy E5, that is the L5, when that goes on sale later. So yes, even a car like this is probably not going to dominate the market. It's unbelievable by the rest of the world standards, but it's only quite competitive by our standards here. That is all from the Telescope today. If you enjoyed this video, keep watching, keep subscribing. More videos coming along very soon.